chemistry, and some teams are actually like keeping their dynamic chemistry afloat as they go into the off season. And so like stay with that point too, King. When it comes to like finding the right roles or the right key positions, I know you spoke on, for those that may not know, like there's an audio component, there's a visual component, there's a hosting component, even show notes. Like talk about for those people who may be wanting to start a podcast and they're listening to your episode, Jay. Like, what are some of the key roles or the key players that you need to have a successful podcast?
Well, I can actually start with, the Prodigal Brothers podcast, which is set to relaunch. We don't have a date, but when we started, we had 4 people. We had 4 members, and one guy worked in radio, so he was our audio guy. He was our show notes guy. We had someone who was in graphics and content before, so he actually gave me tips on how to edit video, and I was able to edit the video, but he was doing our graphics for us and had input on, what content we would put out. Al was pretty much Stafford, which was pretty much helping create the show and curate a show. And then, when we sat down and got it together, it was a beautiful thing, man. But you got to have someone who's good with the audio, because a podcast is an audio experience. I think that's one thing that's really missing when people see podcasts, because they think of it as a show. But ultimately, if your audio doesn't sound good, nobody's going to listen to you for an hour, let alone 10 minutes. I know I'm not. I listen to podcasts all the time, and that's the one thing that will make me cut your podcast off immediately. Especially, I look for new podcasts all the time. I want to see what people are talking about. It's market research for me, and it's just, I don't know if I'm missing a hidden gem somewhere. So you want to make sure that your audio is good. Your video quality can always be upgraded. So you can always upgrade your video quality. But the audio is the most important thing, because people hear you before they see you. So you want to have a good audio person. You want to have somebody that's good at editing. And you can outsource these things. They also have AI programs that do it for you, but that's added cost. So those are things that have to be agreed upon by the group. And you have to ensure that everybody puts in. So, for us, it was Cash App at a time. But, if you could get a specific account that all the money earnings from the podcast go into that account, so that, you can fund these additional services, so you can have more time to just maybe create a great show.
Yeah, James is already giving y'all the blueprint, you all, especially when it comes to literally setting up your roles, and also some of the key players that you may want to recruit. He's dropping already a ton of jewels on literally how to form your successful team, even your successful role players for productive and successful podcasts. And Wisdom listeners, we are definitely taking any live Q&A questions that you may have for James, whether you are a fellow podcaster or content creator, or if you're just looking to get into the space. Feel free to come onto the stage or on Twitter and ask any questions that you have for James. We are in our Q&A session for today's segment. And so, like, Jay, stay with that point with the audio, like where we know that there's tons of different variations or company brands of audio equipment that one can get. But what are the ones that you like the most from what you've seen since you've started podcasting? And then even for those that may be on a shoestring budget, they may not have like a long amount of money to really spend on high-end equipment. Like, what are some things that you would recommend they start with, or even some brands that you think they should start with?
Well, the mic that I'm talking on is a dynamic mic. So your dynamic mic is only going to pick up audio when you speak into it. That's the greatest thing. So with a condenser mic, don't get a condenser mic. And your dynamic mics, they have the smaller Shure mics Those are expensive, so obviously don't get those. But this Samson, I don't know the actual model number, but this Samson mic, the one that I'm talking on, is great, and it's USB, and it is I don't know the name of this cord. I'm not that technical, but it's speaker. It's for microphones as well, so you can use it here. You can use it like with a mixer or without a mixer is essentially what I'm saying. So that's the great thing about this mic, and it's only like 60 or 8. I think it was $80 when I got it. So you could buy a couple of these, or you could not eat lunch or something like that for a couple of days and grab one of these. It's not that difficult. And it also plugs into your computer. And then when you want to edit your audio, I use GarageBand, which is on a Mac, which is free. At first we were using I can't think of it, but Windows has a free edition for recording your podcast as well. But I use GarageBand. I'd like all the features that you can add to it. And then when you want to edit your podcast, I use Auphonic. It's like $11.99 or something a month, which is not too much. If you're going to be doing a lot of podcasts, I think it's absolutely worth it. And it cancels out all the noise, background noise. It can focus on the music. It can focus on your audio and music. And the beta version has worked for me very, very well. When you hear my podcast, that's the one thing that I believe stands out to most people is how crisp the audio is. You don't hear a lot of crazy stuff, except for the Jerk Center episode where I was live and I didn't figure out that Auphonic had the capability to do that. But I recently did an episode in Colorado. It was live. We were in a studio, photography studio. There was a lot going on. And, I just check the box, let it process. Boom. It sounded crystal clear. Like you can hear me now.
Man, that's like you said, great trial and error when it comes to what works and also what works with your budget. Because like James is telling us, you gotta be able to stack your coins, you all, in order to make sure that you have your paper up, because you are going to be investing in yourself and in your brand, especially in the quality of your podcast. And so you have to make sure that you stack your paper up, you all. And
go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
You can literally have, everybody has powerful iPhones. You can literally record, especially with the iPhones that we have now. The older iPhones didn't sync with the audio, but iPhone 12 and up, if you have that $1,000 phone and your friend has $1,000 phone, you can get 2 camera angles and sync the audio with that, and you'll have crystal clear video as well. So, I mean, it's already something that you have. You're already using it. You can record an hour to 4 hours depending on your storage. And most of the iPhones come with, I think, 128 gigs. So you may have to clear some stuff out. But, get you a Samsung mic. You can have your computer set up. It has 2 USBs and 2 iPhones. You got 2 angles. You got a video and audio podcast.
Man, you right.
Some house lights. Just buy the daylights at Walmart for like $20, and you got some great lighting.
Or man, you're right, King. Yeah, James is telling you have no excuses. Those who are listening or watching us live for this episode, he's dropping the jewels. He's saying use what you have. You can use your cell phone. He said. You can use regular lighting, ring lights that you can purchase. So you don't need all the heavy duty equipment in studios that we see a lot of people on YouTube, on IG, or even on Facebook